Behold the power in my campaign world. The undead rule and mortals cower.
I got this.
I think you misunderstand. Evil rules the world. You lowly mortal adventurers, have to, cower and grovel.
Yeah, I totally got this.
What do you mean you got this?
Time to show you my Slayer of Evil 5e D&D character build for Adventurers League. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Dave, and as usual, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
Hey, maybe it's your first time visiting Ted's Basement. It's a place where we like to discuss news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes we even talk about other role-playing games.
So if you don't want to miss a single video, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell.
All right, so we had a patron request from Lodwick. He's been a patron of ours for years, so how could we say no? It's a character that he used to play in AD&D. It's loosely related to our Hell's Enemy, but it's a bit different. So we said, sure, heck yeah, we'll build this character for you. Let's see what we can do.
All right, so Slayer of Evil, there's a lot of different directions that, this could go. And reading through, the brief concept is like, oh, well, this could easily be, something that's a Blood Hunter, Witcher related. But we do our character builds as Adventurers League legal. And unfortunately, at least for now, that's not.
So, we're going to take inspiration and come up with something. So, what kind of races were we looking at here?
Well, so if you're going with Slayer of Evil, there's a lot of different directions that spark to my mind. So it's like, all right, well, let's start off racially. What is a super good race? Azamar. What might be something that, is going to offer a nice wisdom bonus? I was looking at, maybe Wood Elf. I was also looking at, there's a couple different sub-races under Halfling.
I mean, even if you wanted to go really go with the thematic and kind of double down on the anti-hero character that's rebelling against the roots, you might even look at the Tiefling.
So, all very valid options, if you ask me, for making a Slayer of Evil character.
Okay, so any type of hunter character that is out to destroy evil, you've got ranger, you've got paladin, you've got clerics, they all fit.
All of them have that feel of they have an enemy and they're going after it. Cleric doesn't have that, I'm out there, with a target, but let's face it, they've got those channeled divinities to target undead. That really fits.
I think it really depends on your deity, really. If you have a deity that's all about, like, go smite this is my enemy, it can very well be a cleric easily.
That is true. All right, so, background options, what are we looking at?
Okay, so for this one, I think we're looking at Acolyte, Sage, Folk Hero, Cloistered Scholar. So, there's a bunch of choices.
So, folk hero, that one who started off small and was brought up, but Acolyte and Sage, and, to the same extent, the Cloistered Scholar, they all seem like that they're someone who stumbled across something that they shouldn't have, or maybe that they didn't want to, and like, holy crap, there's a whole lot of evil in this world. Maybe I'm someone that can do something about it.
All right, so before we actually delve into the building of the character and get into the build, we got to point out a couple things. One, in the description, you can find a link to the character sheet from D&D Beyond, as well as the character build guide. This is the perfect time for us to mention that this video is also sponsored by D&D Beyond. One, makes it so easy to build your characters over there. It's a huge digital database of all things official Dungeons and Dragons. It's amazing. Whether you want to go with the paid tiers or the free stuff, there is so much they offer over there. It makes everything so much faster, so much easier. The content is amazing. They've got videos, they got articles. All the SRD stuff is for free over there. Or, you can buy your books digitally instead of lugging around a book bag full of weighty, heavy, pulling you down books.
You also have to, look at the fact that there is a massive database. If you're willing to gamble with all of the homebrewed material that's out there, you can look at, a variety of different, monsters, magic items, and things that, the vast, database of D&D Beyond users that are using that they've created. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's out there. Be warned. You know, D&D Beyond doesn't check it for power balance, but you know what? Sometimes you want those things that are unbalanced.
I will also mention I love using the encounter builder over there at D&D Beyond. Those links will be in the description, character sheet, D&D Beyond, as well as the character build guide, which you can download from the DM's Guild. Pay what you want. You can pay us nothing or $1 million. The choice is yours. Pay what you want.
All right, so let's dive in to this character build and see what kind of mysteries and secrets we've unlocked with this awesome Slayer of Evil.
Okay, for the stats, we have Strength as a 10, Dex as a 14, and Constitution is a 13.
We went 10 Intelligence, 15 Wisdom, and 10 Charisma. Obviously, if you're looking at this, we went with the point buy as opposed to the standard array.
Now, for our race, we actually went into the Skag Sword Coaster Adventures Guide. So that means that is our +1, and we're going with Halfling Ghostwise.
Ghostwise offers up, pretty cool advantages for this, beyond getting Dex and Wisdom, both awesome stats. We're also going to wind up with Telepathy, which winds up being a little bit fun, later on. And since we're already using the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, we might as well go with something that's fun right out of that book for our background. So we went with Cloistered Scholar. And that whole concept of we read something that is horrific and evil. And as, plucky as halflings are, it's like, you know what? This character decided, I'm going to do something about this.
Now, we're going to get 2 skills, History and Arcana, and then we're going to get 2 languages, which we took Abyssal and Celestial.
So the fact that we're a cloistered scholar, we're in a monastery, and, while we didn't talk about this as one of our options, as we began putting this character together and started researching, what it takes to bring down evil, we said, you know what? We want to focus on radiant damage. And we know that we can do some with Cleric, and we can do some with our smites from Paladin. There is actually a class that we didn't mention that's really good at doing radiant damage. And that's the Sun Soul Monk. So we're decided we're going to start off with us being in a monk monastery.
Yes, and this monk is one we affectionately refer to as the Laser Monk.
So we take our first level in Monk so that we can eventually get to, shooting laser beams. We're going to take the skill Athletics. We're going to take the skill for Religion. We know that we've already got Arcana and History. Getting Religion is going to allow us to know a little bit about Undead, which is kind of where we're eventually leaning towards. So where do we go from here next, Dave?
Well, before we go anywhere, we do also get either toolkit or instrument, and we took calligraphy. That seemed very monkish. And also, I feel like this character really studies runes and writing in general. It really fits for the feel of this character. But level 2, we are actually going to be taking in Ranger.
So for this, we're looking at the capacity of we've studied, we've become a monk, we've completed our training, and we have found this information that we realize that there's a lot of undead in this world. They're a plague, they're a blight on the world, and we want to actively do something about it. So we have chosen our favorite enemy is undead. That's going to give us a language. We've already got Abyssal and Celestial, so we'll go ahead and take Infernal. So we're going to get a skill, so we take Investigation so that we can begin, putting things together and be able to defeat them that much easier.
We also got a favorite terrain. We figure, you know what? Monasteries are usually up in a mountain someplace. You got to climb the mountain to get there. So we just went with that.
So now we've determined that we're proficient in what we want to do, but we need to unlock our monk abilities that much more. We're actually going to be done with Ranger here. We're only ever taking 1 level, but we're going to push ahead and get 3 more levels of monk. This is going to do a number of things for us, but first and foremost, it's going to get us the Sun Soul Monk subclass that we're looking for, as well as to take our first ASI.
And for that first ASI, we're actually going to take a feat. We're going to take Resilient, and we're going to take it in Constitution, bumping our Constitution up to a 14 from that odd 13, as well as giving us the proficiency in the saving throw Constitution. Is going to be super helpful.
Undead have a lot of abilities that are going to attack your Constitution, and those extra hit points are going to be very helpful for us.
So now we are going to leave Monk for the moment and jump into Cleric. And we're going to go with the Light Domain because we want access to even more radiant damage and powers of the lights above.
Perhaps this character's exploits have now earned the attention of a particular god or goddess, as the case may be, and is impressed with their abilities and sees what the future might hold. Since Cleric is one of those classes that doesn't really seem like you need to go train, it's just boom, divine, glow gets upon you. You don't have to really explain it all. It's like, yep, I'm now a cleric. Give me abilities. Give me spells.
So after we take that level in Cleric, we're going to go right back to Monk because we want Stunning Fist and extra attacks.
This is of course going to be really helpful. We're pushed further back than what some of the other characters in our party are doing, but only by a couple of levels, and we've got some fun stuff that we've accrued in spite of having to get that more slowly. So from here, after we've got our extra attack, we're actually going to take 3 levels of Cleric. This is going to give us our Channel Divinity, which is going to be super helpful, as well as, we'll get our next ASI, which we're going to throw into Dex.
Yeah, we're going to be able to turn undead. We're going to be able to do more radiant damage as well with our Light Domain, Channel Divinity, and for that ASI, we decided to increase our Dexterity, the super stat.
This is going to take us up to an 18. We were torn as to, whether we wanted abilities that are going to affect our saving throws from Monk, or whether we wanted the other pluses that would come along with Dex. Both of them offer great saving throws, but the Dex is our hit and damage, as well as our armor class and initiative. It was too hard to turn down.
We're going to bum rush Monk for 3 more levels. That's going to give us Searing Arc, which is a Burning Hands ability powered by our key points, as well as our Fist Become Magic.
Kai Empowered Strike is going to be really useful for when you're not throwing that radiant damage and you actually need to punch something. Continuing on, we're going to get Evasion. We're going to get Stillness of Mind. Both things are going to be really useful in our, fight against the undead. And we're going to get our next ASI. And since we went Dex on our last one, we're going to go Wisdom on this one.
So we're going to go 2 levels of Cleric here. Now we have the ability to destroy undead with our turn undead weak ones anyway, so that's awesome for this character build. Our Channel Divinity improves as well. We're going to get access to 3rd level spells, so we get a lot of benefits for these 2 levels.
So Channel Divinity, twice a rest, super helpful. With us being able to use that, when in a variety of different manners, it's just good to have more of it.
So we got 5 more levels to take, and they're going to all be in Monk.
This is going to overall, it's going to improve our movement and our Monk damage that we're throwing out there, but it's going to give us a number of other really useful abilities as well.
The Sun Soul has an ability where they can spend key points and basically throw fireballs, which is going to be awesome for this particular character build. And again, we have a Monk that is very, very ranged based. We're also going to get another ASI where we're going to max out that Dexterity. And we're also going to get a Tongue of Sun and Moon, and we'll be able to speak with everyone.
We're also wind up with Purity of Body, which gives us the ability to, basically be immune to poison and disease. Super helpful when you're fighting the minions of evil.
So now let's get into that segment where we're going to talk about how do we use this character as an NPC.
This is a time where you could turn around, those characters who want to be like your dark heroes or your anti-heroes. And I'm like, I'm going to play tieflings and I'm going to dress in dark colors and I'm going to be warlocks. I'm going to look like I'm undead. You can go in whatever direction. Well,
you're a necromancer.
You're a necromancer. This character looks at you and has made their snap judgment. You're evil and you are now their enemy, and they could be trying to thwart your plans. And with the added movement abilities, the spells, and the ranged assault that this character can do, it's pretty hard to bring down.
Yeah, he's going to be able to attack from afar, or she will be able to attack from afar. And you know what? You're like, I'm a necromancer and I'm good and I only use my undead for good. And this guy's like, I don't care. You're going to die. You make undead things. Die, die, die. Or you're a tiefling and all this character sees is your demonic or devilish heritage, or maybe you're playing a shifter and all he sees is a lycanthrope. Maybe you have some kind of transformation where your character is an actual lycanthrope or an undead creature and your DM has allowed something. Well, this guy does not care. They're there to destroy you regardless. They just see things in black and white.
Yeah, you could totally make this NPC, true neutral. It does not have a care about law and chaos, good or evil. It has a mission. It will do it. Period.
That's one way. The other way is it could be someone that you need help from. They could have important information that you need, but maybe he becomes a quest giver. Like, oh, I'll do this thing for you, or give you this thing, or tell you about what you need to know if you complete X task for me. So there's different ways you can introduce this character, or it could even just be a misunderstanding.
I could see this as an NPC that has retired. They're no longer doing their things. They still glow with all of that radiant energy, and perhaps you as the characters need to acquire that, and they have to give up a portion of themselves and create this radiant gem that maybe it's implanted in a weapon or an armor, and you've got to use it to defeat some great evil, and you've got to convince him that you are right and pure and just and worthy of such a sacrifice.
Maybe one of your players needs a mentor, and this is the perfect individual to do it. The question is, would you play this character in your game? DMs, would you use this against your players, and how? Before we head on out, I want to invite you to join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party. Ted, what can they expect over there?
Over on Patreon, we're creating products for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons that players and DMs alike can drop right into their game.
But that's not all. We do monthly giveaways, and our patrons are entered automatically.
We do weekly hangouts with our patrons and more.
So quest on down to the description. Join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party on Patreon. And until next time,
stay nerdy.